Hello there, welcome to Cartooning with Paul. Today, I'm going to show you how to draw Olaf from Frozen, step by step. So come on, let's get started. Hello, welcome back. Like I said, today we're going to draw Olaf.
Hi,
but we're going to
everyone.
utilize
I'm
a
Olaf.
technique that was taught to me by one of my mentors years ago. What he would do is he would draw out his massive illustration, he would refine it a little bit, and then he would bring it to a copy shop and he would have them make a copy of his illustration, but he would only have them print it in light colors like light oranges or pinks. And then what he would do is he would dive back into that drawing with some darker color and he would refine the sketch a little bit. If he didn't like this leg, he would move it over a little bit in this different color. He would then bring it back to the shop, have them color copy it again, only printing it in a light color, and he would continue this until that sketch was exactly what he had in mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw with colored pencils. We'll start with a lighter color, and then once we refine, we'll use a darker color, and then when I'm happy with the sketch, I'll go into my darkest colors and we'll finish that drawing up. Now, when picking out a color, I wouldn't start with a yellow for this drawing.
No, not yellow. Yellow and snow? No go.
Yes, thank you, Olaf. No yellow for this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Prismacolor Peach and I'm going to do my underdrawings with that. So let's dive right on in. So when starting this sketch, I'm going to draw in my initial circle just like that. The vertical axis line will be drawn here on an angle like this, and the horizontal axis will be drawn on an angle just like this. You want to keep it nice and curved so we show that the form is rounded, right? From there, what I want to do is I want to get the whole shape of his head in there. So I'm going to draw in a shape just like so. And I'll continue that vertical axis line just like that. Now I'm using one of those iconic poses of Olaf. So while his head is facing this way, his body's going to face that way. But before we do that, we need to give him that center line of action. Okay? This is what'll give him the balance we need. Otherwise, it'll look like he's going to fall over. So what we're going to want to do next is draw in his chest shape. And that's going to be a snowball that's going to be a little flattened, right? But it's going to be the same height as the top of his head down to the bottom of his eyes. So I'm going to measure that size with my pencil. I'm going to go from the top of the head shape down to that horizontal axis line. And that's going to tell me from the bottom of his chin to where my finger is, that's going to show me where that line's going to go. All right. Now, we've got him facing this way with his head, but his body's going to be facing that way. So, this chest shape is going to be angled like this. All right. Now, his whole body shape is the same size as his head. So, again, I'm going to measure with my pencil top of his head down to his chin, okay? And I'm going to bring it down to his chin line, and I'm going to just lightly mark off where the bottom of his body is going to go. I'm going to go up a little bit because he has some feet here. And I'm just going to draw in a shape just like this. Okay. Now what this is really, it's not a circle and it's not a square or a rectangle. It's kind of in the middle. So what we'll want to do, if you're really trying to get this right, it's going to be a little rectangle shape, right? But then you're going to round off all the sides. Not too much. It's going to be nice and subtle. We're going to get these proportions pretty accurate here. Okay, and now for his feet, they're going to be, again, rounded rectangular shapes. We got one here, and then we're going to put another one right here, and it's just going to kind of go behind the front foot here. And then just to figure out what I'm doing here, I'm going to mark off where those coal shapes are going to go, just like that. Now those are just rough, but we'll go from there. I'm going to figure out right now where the arms are going to come out, and they come out a little bit above, halfway down on this chest shape. And they come down roughly about that far. The other one we're going to put up in the air. Nothing too difficult. Now we've got the basic shape of Olaf's body in place. Now I want to dive back in, put some details in. So I'm going to go into the head. So what we need to do is we need to figure out, just going to turn his head a little bit there. There we go. And we're going to figure out where the eyes are going to go first. Okay, so I'm just going to throw in a nice rough circle shape there, and another one right here. Now his eyes don't touch, but they get really, really close to touching. Okay, so there we are. He has a nose, and it comes right here. But we're not going to use this circle, we're going to cut into it, because this is a carrot, and it comes out of his mouth shape, which is a pronounced overbite. If we were to draw Olaf from the side, his mouth juts out like that. So that nose is going to be obscured by this shape, right? So we have to remember that when we're drawing Olaf in his entirety. So we're going to just kind of give him just a rough shape of what that carrot is going to look like. So let's see. Now notice I'm drawing very loosely and it's very rough. That's just because I'm trying to get an idea for where I want everything to go. So that actually looks pretty decent. But I'm going to revise this as we go. All right. Now let's refine a little bit of his head shape. Now that we know where the eyes go, and we have the cheeks kind of roughly in there, I'm going to go back into the head shape, and I'm just going to kind of flatten out the top of the head just a little bit. He's not exactly rounded like a ball up here.
I don't have a skull.
And basically what this does is this gives us room to give him his eyebrows, and the whole head shape will move and distort with those eyebrows. You can do more with expression when you allow the eyebrows to shape the head. Okay, so now that I've got the eyes and the nose in place, let's figure out the mouth. So with this drawing, we're going to have him smiling nice and large, okay? And we're going to, like I said, he has a strong overbite. So his upper lip juts out quite a bit from his head. You don't want to go too far out. So what it does is it gives his mouth a lot of space for that large singular tooth right there in the front. And all that is a rectangle. It's a little rounded. It comes out like that. I want him to smile a little bigger, so I'm going to push that smile up just a little bit. And we want to match this shape, that laugh line, with his cheek. And it'll come out like that. This side of his cheek will be obscured by his head shape, but we're going to follow this line right up in here, just like that. I see he looks like he's put on a little weight, so I'm gonna kind of bring that in a little bit on both sides. All right, so I'm just gonna keep refining this a little bit here. It's actually looking pretty close to what it is I wanted in the first place. But your first drawing is never your final drawing. There's always work to be done to make it look a little nicer. So let's just concentrate on this arm here. And the arm is a tree branch, right? It's a twig from a branch, so it's not exactly straight. There are all these little notches and all these curves and different angles. And that's just to make it look like it came from nature, right? So up in here, this is where we have his hand. So the hand will come out a little bit wider than the branch, but not too much. And the hand will be shaped like that. His thumb will come out here like this. And now let's put in the 3 fingers. Just like so. Okay. Now that's pretty good for now. Let's go into this one. So this arm will come down like this. He's got a twist in the branch right here, a little notch. So that'll come out a little bit. And it'll have a little notch right in there. And the hand will get a little wider here. And here we go, we'll have those little extensions of branches right here, just like that. And then his thumb will come out right here. Let's go back into these eyes. And when I'm looking right at us. So this eye will look like that. Well, this pupil will be a little closer to the edge of the eyes, just to give a little dimension to the sketch. And now, you see the shape of the eye, we're going to want to bring it in a little bit. He has eyelids, so we want to make sure that we give the eye some shape to indicate that his eyes are not exactly wide open. They're pretty wide open, but they're not exact circles. And then we'll just throw in those 3 twigs at the top for his 3 hairs, just like this. Okay, so we've got our initial sketch of all the underdrawings, or what we like to call the first pass. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive back in, but we're going to use a green pencil and we're going to refine some of the lines. All of those loose lines, we're going to use them as a guide, and then we're just going to darken in what we want to keep. If we want to change something, if he's a little too thin in areas, if he's a little too wide in some areas, we'll use this to correct it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the eyes first, okay? And we're going to just kind of figure out yeah, I like that better. I'm just going to figure out which lines we want to keep. The eyes look like they're okay, but I'm going to move this pupil over a little bit. Widen that out there. I'm going to widen out this eyebrow too, like that. And then this one, I want to make sure that it touches this corner here of his brow. All right. His cheek like that. His overbite is a little pointed. I don't want it to be that pointed. So, yeah. I'll turn it this way. See, already it's looking better. Okay, now I'm going to match this line here, right here, just like that. Oh, that's the line I was looking for. Excellent. Okay, now with this line, I already have this line going through as my guide. I don't have to draw through his lip this time. So I'm just going to figure out where that line starts and stops. See, now I'm not redrawing these lines here. I'm not redrawing this line in here. I'm cleaning this up. Okay, and I think, yeah, that's much better. Okay, rounding that off, just like that. Okay, so now with the nose, we really have to be a little more careful than we were, but this is still pretty loose, right? So the nose will come out like that. And then we'll come out like this. Like that. Okay. The top of the nose, because it's a carrot, right? It's something out of nature. It's not going to be perfectly rounded. It's not going to be perfectly straight. Okay. The end of the carrot comes to a point there, but it's crooked. All right, and then, let's see, just to give it some volume, we're gonna draw in some light lines here, just to guide us for when we do our finished sketch there. All right, so now let's go into the chest. I like how this works here, but I don't like how much room I have on the top here. There's way too much space between this line, and that's because when I was drawing this, I had these lines to use as reference, but we came in on the head. So I want to come out a little bit, but I want to bring his chest in just a little bit. Okay, and I like the rest of the volume of this shape, so I'm going to leave it like that. All right. See, that already looks much better. And now that I'm doing some defining work here, I'm going to change these circles into those shapes for the coal. So he has 3 coal buttons, and because they're coal, they are not perfect shapes. They've got all these little jagged edges and some rounded areas. Now let's take care of these ones as well. This one's the biggest of the 3, and it's shaped kind of like this. Now, if your drawings are for fun and you're not worried about making them completely accurate, obviously you can do whatever shapes you want for those pieces of coal, but I'm trying to show you how to do this with some kind of authenticity. So I am trying to stay as close to model as I can, and just do it like that. Now let's clean this up a little bit. And while we're cleaning up, because they're snowballs, again, they're not perfect shapes. They're going to have their little divots and their imperfections. So that goes like that. And this one will kind of come out like this. And then it will come in like that. And now the bottom area, the base of that snowball, will be nice and rounded just like that. And now for the feet. I kind of like how I drew the feet in, so I'm going to keep them rather similar just like that. Now, is this looking done yet or what?
Nope.
No, you're right, Olaf. We're not finished yet. We're going to dive in with the next color, but I'm feeling confident enough about this sketch that I'm going to go right to the dark blue. Every artist will gravitate toward their different color, right? But I seem to gravitate toward Prismacolor's ultramarine blue. It's just something about that shade that I really like. So I'm going to dive in with that one, and we'll go from there. All right, so these eyes, I don't exactly like this corner here. It's supposed to be a little rounder, which I kind of ignored while I was doing my refining. So I'm going to round that off a little bit like that. Round this like that. And I'll give him those eyelids. Like so. Going to remember that line needs to go in like that. This one can go in like that. Now that I'm fixing this up, I think those pupils could use a little bit of love. So let's see, give that reflecting color. I'm going to shade that in because I'm feeling pretty good about this one. All right, now this one, I'm going to move over a little bit right about here. Figuring out where to put the pupils takes a lot of practice. What you don't want to do is draw them in too early in your sketch. Okay, I like that right there. So now that I fixed the eye shape, I'm just gonna fix this a little bit here. I'm gonna shade that in a little bit. This one is up a little bit. He's giving a little bit of an expression there. Okay. I'm going to round that a little bit. All right. Little bit of trivia. Can you tell me what Olaf's favorite drink is? It's iced tea. I didn't think it was that bad.
He's crazy.
Thanks, Olaf. All right. Anyway, let's see here. Now that we've got that in, now notice that some of these lines are going to be a little thicker than other lines. That gives a little more volume to your sketch, gives a little more style, but it also gives a little more weight to certain lines than others. And that can be important in professional illustration. Look at this. So the bottom of the lip here will have a little bit of shadowing to it, right? Well, instead of drawing shadowing and shading it in, you just give it a little thicker line, and that helps to define the volume. The outer lines, or the outline of the sketch, should be a little thicker than your finer details on the inside. That gives the details a little delicacy in the sketch, but it also helps give, again, a little more volume to the character sketch. Okay. That'll be a nice thin line, while these will be a little thicker. And now let's commit to some of these lines in the nose. So we got this line in like that, and straighten it out here. And then the edge, or the end of the carrot, will crook down a little bit. And now for the top, we'll come up, we'll come out a little bit, and then we'll come down. And all of these lines, I'm going to ignore most of them. I'm going to just draw in a couple. Because if you've ever looked at a carrot, they will have little ridges along the body of it. just like so.
Now I'm perfect.
Well,
Oh, almost perfect. We still need to finish up the lines on the body. Hold your horses. Okay, so I really like the new lines I put in the green, so I'm just going to follow those in. And follow that. Like I said, we want to go thicker on the outline lines, but especially toward the bottom. So these lines will be nice and thick like that, right? But this line right down here will be even thicker. Not too thick, but thick enough to give the impression of the underside there. Now up here, just like that. And because we're going with this nice dark blue, it'll definitely differentiate better from the orange than the green did. Okay, so there was the thumb that I drew a little too far down on the hand. Well, you're not going to see that as much because the dark blue stands out better. All right, so I'm going to shade that in very slightly as well. And now, draw these in. Just like that.
I am wonderful.
All that's left to do is sign it.
Oh, I love it even more.
All right, guys, as you well know, I have a Teespring store. The link's going to be in the description. With it being the end of November, we have decided to give you a promo code. That's right. If you order anytime between now and December 2nd, you'll get not 10, but 15% off your entire purchase. You can get t-shirts, sweatshirts, you can get mugs, stickers, you can get tote bags. Anything you order between now and December 2nd, you will get a whopping 15% off of your entire purchase. So, don't forget, the promo code is cartooning, and you'll get that discount. Guys, I want to thank you so much for drawing with me. If you liked it, give me the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and spread the word on this channel. I want to thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, I've got other videos right here you can draw with. Until the next video, we will see you later. Go watch Frozen 2. All right, we'll talk to you.